Hey everybody, DM Galabond here, and for Lore Friday this week, we are going to start our look at the Candlekeep Mysteries series by looking at the first adventure in that series called The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces. Candlekeep Mysteries, as you may know, it's the brand new sourcebook that just came out from Wizards of the Coast for D&D 5e, was published on March 16, 2021. This particular adventure, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces, is for level 1 characters. The particular theme and the ask of this adventure is to solve the mystery of a missing researcher. Now, you remember in last week's overview of the Candlekeep Mysteries series, each episode or each adventure centers around a mystery that has to be solved. So in this case, they're looking for a missing researcher. The setting is the interior of Candlekeep Library and the interior of a Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. And sort of a teaser for this one is a researcher on curses has gone missing within the stacks of Candlekeep Library. A little bit of a backstory on this. The last place that this researcher was seen holds very few clues, but one of them is a copy of the rare book, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces, which was donated by another wizard who also mysteriously disappeared. Are they related? Maybe, maybe not. So, synopsis is the most recent missing researcher discovered the secret to locate and open a portal to a Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion that the previous missing wizard had created inside the great library at Candlekeep. Here is where we want to go ahead and kind of review the plot a little bit. And I'm going to do my best to not give away any spoilers, but just sort of for DMs to get an idea of the structure of this without giving too many details away to spoil the fun for anyone that's going to play it. The built-in hook for this particular adventure is that the PCs are sent to Candlekeep Library to look for a researcher on curses named Matrius. And they give you a couple of options on why they need to find him, but, really that's up to you. And it's also up to you if you want to change that plot hook. So they arrive at the library, and they discover that he's missing. And they are led by the Avowed, the people who run the library, to the last known location within the stacks. And while they are looking around there, they find a book that's open on a desk called The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces. And it has notes in the margin of one of the pages that it's open to about a command word to open a portal. So this book was donated by the estate of a wizard named Fistandia, and that wizard went missing and was presumed dead long ago. If the PCs choose to speak the command word, it triggers a portal to open a Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion spell right there in the room where they're standing. So when they walk in, they find Matrius in the foyer, the guy they're looking for, and he says, he's going to leave, saying that he couldn't find the command word. But now that he knows how to open it, he is going to be able to keep the portal open so that they can get out. He says, go ahead and look around. I will start researching this issue that you want me to look into. Here's one weakness in the plot hook. They were sent to find this guy. They locate him. They could just walk back out with him. It presumes that the PCs are going to want to look around. In fact, this Matrius character says, well, now that we both know how to get in here, why don't I go back into the library and I'll start researching this issue that you came. You go and look to see if you can find the word to open the portal from the inside. And I'll open the doors for you after a while. That's going to really depend on your characters wanting to explore this place. So you might have to figure out something, if you know your players well, some sort of hook beyond that, beyond just this guy they were looking for asked them to go in here. And, well, he got trapped. He couldn't find a way out. So, of course, when they go in, when he goes out, as soon as he steps out, he screams. And the party turns and looks and sees that a little imp figurine he's holding has come to life and starts attacking him. Well, by the time they try to rush for the door slams, and now they're trapped inside. So now, once they get trapped inside, they don't have a choice except to go look for the command word to open it. Or do they? The clues to discover the command word to open the doors from inside are hidden throughout the house, and it has several rooms that are devoted to books themselves. The house is also home to a menagerie of low-level creatures, some friendly, some unfriendly. Many of them are animated objects of relatively low CR to match a level 1 party. The mansion, now here's another little twist in the plot, or weakness in the plot, if you will. The mansion includes a magical food supply and some magical housekeeping staff. So once the party figures out who is friendly and who isn't, that really their only reason to leave the house is the errand that first brought them to Candlekeep. You're in this extra-dimensional space, in Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. You're not going to run out of air. It's not like a bag of holding or something. There's magical food that replenishes, a staff that will make that food for you, other staff that cleans the house, all magical, nothing that's considered an actual living creature. So you got this big, huge house. You've got all the food you want. There are some PCs that are like, yep, great, all right, I'm going to retire. So you as a DM, you might have to introduce something to sort of force their hand. So that could either be you change the rules up a little bit so that after a while they notice that the air is starting to be a little stale. So maybe there is only a limited supply of oxygen, and they have so much time you could make it 24 hours, 72 hours, whatever, before they run out of air. And they would asphyxiate. And because obviously since the staff are all non-living, they don't need air to breathe. You could say like maybe there's some fault in the spell, and the spell maybe is so old that it's starting to kind of fray around the edges. And after somebody enters, after a certain amount of time, they notice that, kind of the extreme edges of the mansion are starting to disappear. And maybe there's just like a total void beyond it that is clearly a destructive kind of void, and you might have one of the small creatures or one of the small constructs actually get destroyed by this void in the presence of the creatures or presence of the PCs, so that they know, oh crap, we really have to get out of here. So that's one thing. You can come up with whatever works for your party. You might just be an incentive. Hey, the researcher is going to pay you guys a lot of gold each if you wind up figuring out what this command word is. That might be incentive enough for them. They may want the gold. It'll be all about the bling. So that could be another incentive that you use to get them to actually find a way out. So the clues to discover this command word are sufficiently spread across the mansion that the PCs will reasonably explore almost all of the spaces. Now, some areas will require the PCs to solve puzzles in order to enter them. Some are guarded by living creatures or constructs that are there by design or that are there as intruders. But in any case, once the PCs discover the way to get out, there's evidence that the wizard who set up the mansion, Fistandia, is actually still alive somewhere. Now, there's another plot hole based on this fact, but I can't say too much without giving away a cheat code for someone that might be trying to play through the story to use. Players who know a lot of lore about D&D will probably figure that out on their own anyway. But I'd rather have that be something they figured out while they're playing the game. Once the PCs emerge, they discover that the researcher Matrius is actually dead, and he was killed by that imp that came to life. So the adventure gives a potential plot hook that could lead to the PCs raising funds to resurrect that researcher. But I would propose a couple, one of several alternate plot hooks. Perhaps the imp manages to escape from the room where the PCs emerge from the mansion, and that leads to a chase through the library to find, capture, and then deal with the murderous fiend. Or perhaps there are other books that the fiend could somehow enter and force the PCs to chase it through other stories. And those other stories could be other adventures that you run for your party. Another alternative is that imp could escape Candlekeep entirely, and then in that case it might take an interest in the PCs as the unwitting architects of its freedom. Now, you remember, imp is a fiend, but it's a devil. That means it's a lawful evil devil. So it might try to curry favor with its superiors by tempting or tricking the players into some sort of devilish contract that could form the basis for an entire campaign's worth of adventures that the PCs have to undertake in order to escape or perhaps fulfill the terms of the bargain that they made with the imp or with the imp's superiors, depending on how you choose to introduce that, if you choose to introduce that. So the most common enemies you're going to find in this adventure are animated objects. Toughest encounter that a level 1 party is going to face is an encounter with a mimic. There are a couple of special creatures in this. One is a swarm of animated books, and another is a creature, an animated creature called a chained library. My favorite part of this adventure is the chance to explore a magical mansion that has helpful, playful, and dangerous creatures all inside. Plus a few neat little kind of puzzles that are in there, and some of those puzzles you can just go in and grab and lift out and put into something else and use them in another setting as a way of getting into areas or whatnot. Puzzle locks, if you will, to unlock portals to various areas. Easiest homebrew adaptation? Well, this adventure is going to fit into any large library setting in a 5e game. The fact that additional wizards are missing provides built-in plot hooks for further adventures. And how could you use this with other editions? Well, relatively easily, in fact. As long as you substitute or reskin existing animated creatures in that other edition to match something that would be an appropriate challenge for your party. Alright, so that is going to do it for our look at this particular adventure, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces. Next week we will be back and we will be looking at the level 2 adventure from Candlekeep Mysteries called Mazfrost's Mighty Digressions. I hope that we will see you back here. Hope that you can tune in and watch that. And as I said, when we finish this entire series, I'm going to be putting together an idea for how you can build an entire campaign around this various set of adventures so that you could just use this source book and run it as an entire campaign for a party of PCs. But once again, keep in mind, like we said last week in the overview, every single one of these stories is going to be a mystery. So if your players are not the type that like a steady diet of mysteries, you probably don't want to throw too many of these in a row at them. If they do like mysteries, oh boy, this could be a real fun ride for them. Thank you guys for hanging out today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you can be notified every time new content drops here on the channel. And we hope that we will see you again next week. Take care, y'all. Good night now.